Hey friend, in today's watercolor tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to paint a beginner watercolor pine tree. Without further ado, let's get painting. For today's tutorial, I'm just going to be using olive green, Prussian blue, and burnt umber by Winsor Newton. The paper I have here is a size 6 by 8 inches, and then I've got a size 16 round Princeton brush. To get started, I am going to mix up some burnt umber with our Prussian blue for our trunk color. I'm just going to do a tiny hint of our Prussian blue, not too much, just to kind of deepen the burnt umber and make it a little bit of a cooler tone. And I'm first going to begin by doing a straight line. And by straight, I mean apparently not very straight. That's okay though. In nature, we have a lot of variety in that, where some branches or trunks are not perfectly straight. So this is just a good example of just kind of a looser, organic look. And before I do anything else, I'm going to take a little bit of water on my brush. And utilizing this wet area of the bottom of our trunk, I'm just going to do a really simple wash, allowing that to kind of bleed out. And I want just some rough edges as well, kind of doing this like loose, abstract kind of style, if you will. Okay, so now that we've got that and our brown is still slightly damp, I want to grab our olive green, and I'm going to start by just slowly incorporating some color alongside our trunk. And as I do it, I'm going to be intentional about overlapping some green on our trunk, but also allowing some of the trunk to pop through as well. So I'm not going to saturate the whole trunk with green coverage, but being intentional about just creating this loose branches and texture of the tree without concealing the whole trunk itself. I'm going to start by using the tip of my brush and just getting this simple, really loose texture. I'm just tapping my brush on either side. And as I go, I'm going to just point some of the bristles slightly sideways like this. I may elongate this just a hair bit. There we go. And then some of them I'm just going to kind of angle slightly upwards. For these branches, if you notice, the top is going to be slightly more narrow. And as we go down, the tree is going to increase in width on either side. And that is just going to just give this subtle cone shape, if you will. And for each branch, I kind of start with a slight swooping motion that's slightly angled upwards, just like so. And then alongside the top and the bottom of each of those branches, I just do a few kind of wispy brush marks just like that, just to give it a little bit of detail. And then you can go in on top of the trunk and just kind of conceal the trunk area there, just to help build up some density to the foliage as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to work my way down, increasing the width. And again, you could still see the trunk popping through here and there. And it's okay to leave some gaps as well. So we've got some white little speckle gaps scattered throughout, and that's totally fine. Don't feel like you have to really fill it out too much. And again, I'm just doing this really subtle kind of tapping motion with my brush to get this loose texture. Again, slightly angling the bristles upward. May tap in some more concentrated green along the trunk here. And as I start to work my way down, I'm going to maybe just allow the branches to kind of be more horizontal and less pointed upward. It's just a very subtle curve. I'm just gonna allow some pressure to build with the tip of my brush just to saturate the green and kind of lift the waterline of the trunk itself. There you go. Do the same thing up here. I feel like I need a little bit more green. Just by applying a little bit of pressure, you can kind of erase some of that waterline, dividing up the green and the trunk. All right, and now our branches are going to slightly angle a bit downward, just like so. I'm gonna angle this one pointed towards the ground more. Okay, and next I am just going to let this tree set for maybe just 5 minutes, and then when we come back, I'm gonna add a little bit of Prussian blue to our green to just do a secondary color to offer a little bit more shading and dimension to our tree. Our tree is now 80% dry, and I just mixed up some Prussian blue with our olive green, and I got this shade here that's like a cooler tone green, so you could just see the difference compared to our tree color, which is a more yellow leaning green. It's a bit warmer. I now want this kind of cooler tone that's slightly darker, and I am just going to take this cooler tone green and just add a few flecks of it, just tapping it kind of below the boughs or the branches, if you will. So that way we've got a little bit more dimension, and I'm just faintly kind of tapping it. I don't want to go too crazy to where I've covered the original olive green. But you could just see I'm just taking some time just to kind of tap that in with a little bit of texture. So almost like these wispy eyelash brush strokes. And it's okay if some of that green bleeds slightly into the olive green. But you could see how much more dimension there is with the tree itself by adding this depth and shaded version of this green. Just by adding a little bit of blue to our olive green, it really is just making it pop more. And that is it. Thank you so much for joining me for today's watercolor beginner tutorial on how to paint a pine tree. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you would like to follow along for some more watercolor tutorials.